And we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the second part of the show, we are going to now preview the Sunday night matchup between the Eagles and the Cowboys. So, obviously, yesterday I talked about the importance of the game. If the Cowboys win this game, the Eagles and the Cowboys are both tied, for the NFC East lead. These two teams did meet, back in what week was it? It was week 9. The Eagles winning that game 28-23. Dak Prescott had a very good game, 29-44, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jalen Hurts went 17-23, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So with this game, it's even more important because the Cowboys, they left some points on the board. I talked about that. And it's I think it's going to be a high scoring game because right now the Cowboys are 3.5 point favorites in the game. They've played very well at home this year. They're 6-0 at home, 3-3 on the road. They've won 4 in a row. The Eagles obviously coming off of that blowout loss to the 49ers. So, if the Eagles are coming off of a win, obviously I would probably lean more towards the Cowboys in the game. In terms of like the spread, I think the Cowboys are going to win this game. I think the Eagles. I think it's going to be a 3-point game, but I kind of like the Cowboys to win outright, just because they're at home. The over/under is 51.5. I wouldn't be surprised if that hits. I mean, that was the final score total last time they played was 51. Right, 28 plus 23. Right? See, I can still do math. I think the Cowboys, they've been waiting for this game since they last played them. I think they feel like they could definitely win this game. And I think they will. I think they are going to win this game. I think the Eagles will keep it close, though. We look at the stats between the two teams. So the Cowboys are 3rd in passing yards per game. Eagles are 13th. Rushing yards per game. Eagles are 8th. Cowboys are 11th. Points per game. Cowboys are 1st. Eagles are 4th. Then on the defensive side of the ball, against the pass, the Eagles' defense is 31st in the league, and the Cowboys' defense is 4th. Rushing yards, the Eagles are 4th against the run. Cowboys are 12th. And then points allowed, Cowboys are 4th. Eagles are 24th. So, yeah, I mean, the Cowboys got the edge on the defensive side. But, yeah, I think the Cowboys win. But it's gonna be another close game. It's gonna be back and forth. I know that I brought this up yesterday, but there was talk on TV about the Eagles benching Jalen Hurts and starting Marcus Mariota, and it's like, really? That's what it's come to. That's not going to happen. Now, unless Jalen Hurts is really hurt, he's playing. And these two teams, the last time they played in Dallas was last year on Christmas Eve, and Gardner Minshew put up a lot of points against them, against that Dallas defense. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, listen, the Eagles, they got a great offensive line. They're going to be able to protect Jalen Hurts. Dak's going to get the ball out when he has to. Like I said, the Eagles, secondary is not as good as it was last year. So especially with this passing game, and we're seeing Ferguson getting it going at the tight end spot, and Brandon Cooks, of course. And they're getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb. I talked about that yesterday. And they're running the ball a little bit better. Dak Prescott's playing at an MVP level. Cowboys are going to put up points in this game. So, the Eagles, I mean, let's see what they do. They got to, get their minds right, because obviously getting blown out at home by the team you beat in the NFC Championship game, yeah, it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. So we'll see how they, respond from that. Again, it's hard to say that they're going to lose, 2 games in a row. But the Cowboys are unbeaten at home. So they they're gonna have to really bring it. And listen, the Cowboys, their other wins have come against teams that aren't very good. The the Giants, the Jets, the Commanders. I mean, the Rams right now are fighting for a playoff spot, but the Cowboys are a much better team than the Rams, I think. They've beaten a lot of bad teams. The Patriots they've beaten. Yeah, a lot of the teams that they've beaten at home aren't very good. They did beat Seattle. Seattle put up 35 points against them, and that's something that should worry you as a Cowboys fan, is the way the defense played last week. Because if this team has Super Bowl aspirations, your defense cannot be giving up 35 points. They did that against San Francisco too. So, and it's all about matchups. Like the Cowboys, they match up well against the Eagles, but they don't match up well against the 49ers. Now, if they play each other in the playoffs again, maybe it's different, but they could definitely beat the Eagles in this spot. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think it'll be maybe, let's see here. Maybe it's, 34-31 final score it is. I think I'll go with that. Again, I'm kind of also doing it just so the Eagles, for the spread pool, they cover the 3.5. Because I'm trying to, win the spread pool this week. And I don't know, you're giving the Eagles 3 points. I mean, I'll take it. I mean, people took them as a home underdog. I didn't. I took the Niners, even though I didn't feel great about it. And the Niners, they did more than just cover the number. But divisional game, Eagles coming off of a loss. I think that they at least keep it close. But I think Dallas wins the game. But it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game for both teams. This is going to be, this should be a shootout. So, but I just the criticism of Jalen Hurts too, and just some of the takes. Like I said, I don't think it really makes a lot of sense right now. I mean, listen, the Eagles were down against some teams and they were able to come back, and he's one of the reasons for that. And if he's not playing quarterback for the Eagles, they don't have nearly as good of a record as they do. But you got to deal with Dak Prescott now, who's playing, the best football of his career, arguably. And they almost lost the last time they played him. So, this is big. I mean, this is for the division too. I mean, you got that, and like I said yesterday, the number one seed. The 49ers could take that. Because they have the tiebreaker over both of these teams. So, they're going to have to, this is a really important game for the Eagles. It's an important game for both teams. And, it's going to be nice to, watch it, because I anticipate that's going to be a good game. Obviously, it's of two teams that are in, the Giants division, and I don't like either of them, but we got other implications with that. Of course, fantasy and the spread pool. So of course I'm going to be locked, and it's football, so I'm going to be locked in regardless. But I'm hoping one day that the Giants, maybe get back to, being a contender, and they can match up against these teams. Because right now, I mean, the gap is it's the Eagles and the Cowboys, and then it's just, the Giants and the Commanders are somewhere below them, way below. But and the Commanders were competitive in both games against the Eagles, but against the Cowboys they got blown out. But right now it's just the Eagles and the Cowboys division. It's been like that for a long time, and I don't know when that's going to change. I really don't. So, but we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think. How is this game going to play out? Like I said, I think it's going to be back and forth. the way the Eagles defense has been struggling, the Cowboys defense, how they played last week. The Eagles are going to want to, get things right this week, and we'll see. But right now, I'm kind of leaning towards Dallas, taking them, but only winning by a field goal. But we'll see. I mean, that's just me. My predictions haven't been great this year. I did have that 1 week where I had 12 wins, which was awesome. Even straight up last week, I didn't really do that good. So let's see if this week, is better. Got off to a good start by, picking the Patriots to cover. Maybe the Eagles, they cover. If they don't win, if they win outright, they win outright. But, at least, cover the number. But I feel like a lot of people are going to be all over Dallas just because they're at home. The Eagles got blown out. No one's really going to – actually, I shouldn't say no one, but there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to, give the Eagles a shot in this game. But we'll see. It's it's one of the best games of the weekend, if not the best game of the weekend. Because there's another game that I think about that could be very good as well. In the late window slot. So we'll get into that. That's in the final part of the show. That game between the Bills and the Chiefs is always a lot of fun. That's what I'm talking about. That game, even though it doesn't have like the same weight as it had in years past. Like you don't have these two teams fighting for the top spot in the AFC. It's kind of the Chiefs are struggling and the Bills are on the outside looking in right now. So, but again, whenever it's Mahomes and Allen, it's it's always not always, but it is a good game. At least the last couple of times they played each other was a good game. That and the divisional matchup 2 years ago was, probably the best playoff game I've ever seen. So that's the game I was talking about. That's the other good game of the weekend. Just because it's Mahomes and Allen. It should be a lot of fun. It's unfortunate we're not going to see Burrow versus Mahomes on New Year's Eve, but at least we get this, and maybe we'll see that matchup in the playoffs if the Bills can make a run here. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it when talking about this topic here. So when we come back from our second break of the show, we'll preview the early window games for Sunday. But before I get into that, I just want to remind you guys to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure to go to the following link. That is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show and makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. And as always, it is displayed on the ticker on the bottom of the show segment down below. So, when we get... Oh, I clicked on the wrong screen. So with that, when we come back from our second break, we'll get into the previews of the early window games for Sunday. So stick around, and my picks. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.